Alright, so for today's picture, you'll probably need a dark colored piece of paper, and you can either use chalk or oil pastels will work too. Now I'm going to use chalk on this, and I'm going to get a dark green so that I can start drawing my string of my Christmas lights. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one string on the top and one on the bottom. You can make them as wavy or curly as you want. Just try to save enough room on top and underneath for some Christmas lights. And now I'm going to do my line on the bottom. And I've got a good base for my picture because I know where my lights are going to go. So anywhere that I put a Christmas light, I'm going to put a square underneath. So I think I'm going to do 3 or 4 on the top, and I'll try to fit 3 or 4 on the bottom as well. So anywhere you want to put a light, put a square. This sort of helps us make sure we've got enough room for our lights and plan out where they're going to go. So we are sure that our picture is going to look really good. Now I'm going to go ahead and just really gently color those in. A good thing to remember, especially about using chalk, is a little goes a long way. You really don't have to press that hard with this, because if you press hard with artist chalk, it's gonna crumble and get the color pigment everywhere, and then you're gonna have a big mess. So a little goes a long way with this. Just really gently with your coloring today. So I've got most of my squares colored in, and now what I want to do is grab my color tray, and I'm gonna look and see which colors I want to use. I'm gonna try to stick to bright colors, and then I do want to have maybe some purples and blues in there. So of course the first color that I want is a red. You can make the shape of your bulb any shape that you want. Could be a circle. I'm doing mine more of like a longer oval shape. You could point it at the end. And here I'm just trying to decide where I want my red lights to be, because I don't want to put them right side by side. I want to make my picture nice and colorful. So I'm kind of trying to space out my colors like real Christmas lights. Again, you can use whatever colors you want. I did red, now I'm going to do purple, and then last I'm going to do blue. As long as it is a brighter color, you should be good to go. I don't know how grays, blacks, or browns would look just because they're not super colorful. But if you want some brown and gray and black Christmas lights, you go for it and let me know how it looks. And now I'm going to take my blue, and then we need to grab our white because we're going to do the electricity inside our light bulb. Good. Now it's kind of a funny shape. It's just 2 curls really. I'm going to go up and curl, over and curl, and bring it back down. What you can do if you would like, I know usually we practice on the back, but we don't really want to flip this over because we're going to get chalk everywhere. So instead, if you want to get a scrap piece of paper and practice this little curly Q line with a pencil, that could be a good idea. But remember that it never has to be perfect. So I'm just curling up, curling over, curling down. This will help make our light bulbs look a little bit more realistic after we color them in, and we also want to make it look like it's shining. Our lights are on, right? So this will help give that effect. Okay, so now that I have my electricity part in my light bulb, I'm going to grab the color of my light bulb, and I'm just really gently going to shade that in. I'm not pressing very hard at all, just because with these chalks, I really don't need to. They're very, very pigmented and very bright, so a little bit will work. Now you'll notice that I'm not coloring over the white electricity part. I'm just coloring right up to it, because when we use our fingers to smear that pigment in just a little bit, we can tap that. We don't want to make it completely disappear because we want it to look like it's inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger I'm gonna really gently smear the top part, and then when I get that pigment on my finger, I'm just gonna tap it over the white electricity so that that electricity looks like it's inside shining. We don't want it to look like it's just another line, and we don't want it to disappear. If we swipe it too much, it'll completely go away. It won't look like electricity anymore. So just be really gentle for this part. It always helps me to have a little bit of a paper towel or a tissue paper sitting by so that I can clean my finger again, because I don't want to get my picture too messy with that color. So now that I've done my red ones, I'm going to grab the colors for my others and keep going with that. But before I do, after you mix it in, just go back and retrace the outside, because this will help us here in a minute make it look like it's shining. Okay? So now that I retrace that, I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to swipe out right on that line, and it will give it a really nice shiny effect, like our light is on and we are celebrating Christmas with some really shiny, colorful Christmas lights. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to repeat this step with my other colors, and to finish up, I'm just going to I'm going to go around and trace the outside of my light bulbs one more time and not smear it, just because I really want that shape to pop out. So, color gently, smear the color, tap on the white electricity, trace the outside one more time and smear it out like you're pushing the light out of the light bulb, and then trace it again and you are done. This is one of my favorite Christmas projects because it always looks really cool. So don't forget to send me a picture of how awesome you guys did, and I hope that you have fun.